Welcome to Gentle January, our alternative to the alpha lone wolf, do it on your own, start to the new year that many of us are used to. If you're watching this video may actually be about you because today we are talking about community. Let's start with a basic and simple definition of the word community. A community can be defined as a group of people living in the same place or having particular characteristics in common. We are going to focus on both parts of the definition today in this session. I was raised in an extremely robust and diverse community, and I am forever changed and forever shaped by that experience. I could not be more grateful for the community that I was raised in. It has nothing to do with money or how much we had, and everything to do with the interconnectedness of the people within that community. I was parented at home, but I was also parented by people at the church that my grandparents went to, and especially by my neighbors. My grandparents would organize community yard sales. My grandma was in charge of a food pantry. We always hosted a guest or community member for family events and holidays. It was not just family, it was also extended family. And my grandfather did a lot of pro bono law work for the community because he was an attorney. When I moved from LA to Philadelphia, I kind of had to start from scratch. Yes, I had my community online or my ability to text my friends, but at that point, I was not as big into social media. Social media just wasn't as big in general. And I was used to having more in-person and online supports. In my time in Philadelphia, I'm pretty proud of what I was able to build. As someone who did not grow up in Philadelphia and only came to university as a transfer student, I feel like I was able to make so many connections and really grow a network in Philadelphia. I taught fitness. I walked and talked with my neighbors. I worked at wellness events. I vended at art shows with Scott. I rescued cats and worked with our local cat collaborative. And of course, I volunteered with our community fridges. On top of all of this, I managed to grow a really amazing community online. It started when I moved to Philadelphia, but it exploded in 2020 when many things in person shut down. This has allowed me to teach classes online, fitness and otherwise. It has connected me with brands and companies that I really enjoy. It has allowed me to reach people with a shared interest who are not in my same geography and really expanded my worldview. For me, this was the perfect balance of community, but then I had to up and move across the world. So now I am once again in a place where I'm looking to bolster both my online and in-person community. And now I have the added adventure of building community in not just one language, but two. We hear so much about the loneliness epidemic and people not connecting as much in person or even online. So here are some of the benefits of building community. Community can help you figure out who you are. Community can provide a sense of belonging. You get those shared interests, values, and identity, and you can really build your own identity with the help of your community. Like I said, my identity is a patchwork of love and experiences built by the community that I grew up in. I'm honestly getting a little bit emotional about it because I had some of the best experiences I could ever ask for, and it has trained me and prepared me for living abroad. Community also strengthens social fabric. So it's not just about the benefits that you're getting, but it's the benefits that your presence puts into community. You are part of the community, you benefit from it, and the community benefits from you. This makes the entire community healthier. You become stronger because you are not just one person, but you are part of a team. And you can also be safer and more prosperous. Within community, there could be a lot more shared resources. And I'm not just talking about financial resources or tangible resources. I'm talking about things like knowledge and emotional support. Those contributions into the greater community make people feel safer, make people feel more well-adjusted, and can really help your community and your own family thrive. Circling back to that loneliness epidemic, community can actually help you with your physical and mental health. It reduces stress, it reduces isolation, it can actually reduce inflammation to be less stressed and in community with people. But what about community that is not in person? There are still so many benefits of communities that are online. Obviously, I'm a sucker for an online community because I host several of them at this point. We often hear about the echo chambers and the garbage soup of dark Reddit and all of that when it comes to social media, and that absolutely exists and operates every single day. But I do not think that that negates the benefits of social media and online communities that are doing so much positive work. Online communities make things significantly more accessible for people who are disabled, people who are living in more isolated areas, or people who are simply unable to find other people in their general vicinity who are able to connect on the same things that they're looking for. They all benefit from online communities. And some of you know this, but online communities can become in-person communities. They don't have to stay within the bounds of where they start. Many in-person communities have online support. They have group text or message groups. They have Instagrams or other forms of social media. And the same can be true in reverse. Many online communities do meetups, they do retreats, they do wellness events, they do organizing online and meet up for protests or petitioning in person. We don't just have to pick one or the other, and that is what I'm focused on for this year and beyond, finding that balance of in-person and online community supports. Is inconvenience really the cost of community? There is this rising sentiment online, and it has been repeated over and over. I don't really know where it originated, but someone said inconvenience is the cost of community. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. It is not always fun. It is not always exciting to show up and be part of a community, whether it is online or in person. Sometimes it feels like work. And since my own upbringing in community almost always felt like work, if you've never been a kid dedicating your weekend to your church's garage sale and hauling boxes because the old people won't do it, the old people could have been my age and above. But you know what I'm talking about? If you've never done that, you may be surprised to find that inconvenience is the cost of community, but I am not surprised at all. I would reframe this as comfort is sometimes the cost of community, because it would have been comfortable for me as a little kid to sleep in on the weekend, but I got woken up by my grandparents and got taken to the church and had to haul boxes out with other kids who were also my age. And there was bonding over that. There was bonding over the complaining. Many of you know I love to bond over complaining, so that's still a big pillar in my life. I was not comfortable. I'm painfully introverted and I wanted to sleep in on the weekend. And yeah, it was inconvenient. Sometimes you have to peel yourself off of a couch and peel yourself away from doom scrolling on your phone to take part in a meeting, again, online or in person. Sometimes you have to log into a meeting at an inconvenient time for you. And sometimes when you are going places, you have to go to certain spots that have terrible parking options. And that's really inconvenient and sometimes uncomfortable, but yes, it is worth the community. This is the one that people talk about, I feel like a little bit less, but sometimes you're in community where there is a shared value and there is a shared interest, but the people there, some of them you just don't like. Being in community and being friends is not a requirement. You can still be community members with people and not be friends. There's acquaintances, there's co-workers, there's co-conspirators. There are a lot of places in between friends. In this day and age, we feel more connected to people because we have our phones and we have social media, but we are missing opportunities to actually genuinely connect. And without those genuine connections, are we really nurturing true community? Building strong community connections and living within community, navigating inconvenience and that discomfort is how humans have survived since humans were on this earth. How do you get more involved in community? Join and interact in communities. I'm talking about online forums, online communities, and in-person communities. I know a lot of us, we love to join a thing. We love to sign up for an email list. We love to be part of it. We love to repost an event. But if you are not going and interacting, you're not actually contributing to keeping the community alive. Most of us have been part of a community where there's one person who asks a lot of questions or has a lot of ideas, and we're always like, oh, there they go again. But the reality is that person is creating conversations within this community. If they say something and it creates feedback from other people who don't typically participate, they are actually contributing to the fabric of that community. I happen to be married to one of those people who would go to school union meetings and people would roll their eyes and be very upset that he was attending. He is the troublemaker. He is the question asker. He is the ultimate Aquarius. And he actually bolstered and created so much community from just being the person who continued raising his hand. Another way you can help keep your community safe, and it's a little bit more hands-off, is to wear a high-quality respirator, a KN95 or higher. I know this seems like not part of the community thing, but it is absolutely part of public health, and that is community work. Some of you may not be down to wear a respirator all the time, but wearing one on public transportation, in the pharmacy, or in medical settings is a great place to start and a great way to protect the community that you want to be part of. It is extremely hard to consistently show up in community if you are always sick. Volunteer in your community. If you cannot necessarily find community groups that are doing cool activities, you may have to do random activities with cool people. Many of you know I rescued my fair share of cats, and I met so many people through that community, through both fostering cats, people who helped me and sent me things, people who would pick up a cat in the middle of the night and take them for medical attention. I didn't know those people before, but they showed up when I needed them and when I was part of that community, and I tried to do my best to do the same. Many of us want to repost and talk about global issues and big issues, and we want to tackle them and we want to get them fixed. But the reality is, so many of those things can start super small within your actual community. It is easier to organize. It is easier to get together and tackle big things when members of your community are fed, housed, and not constantly sick. The last one kind of wraps it up for everything, which is show up. Online, show up. In-person, show up. You don't have to be 100%. You're not going to get marked down necessarily for tardiness. Some communities may do that. That's not my thing. But actually showing up pretty consistently helps make you part of the community, and people will look to you. And maybe you don't want that. Maybe it feels like a lot of responsibility. But like I said, sometimes your role is asking the important questions. Sometimes your role is sitting there and being a pillar and having people know that person's going to be there, so I'm going to show up. I know I won't be alone. As I mentioned, this year, I want to continue to expand the work that I do within my community. Here are a couple ways that I'm already doing that. Of course, connecting online with my online communities. I want to expand those connections and create more conversations. I feel like when I'm teaching fitness classes, I'm talking at a lot of people, and while we do have the chat filling up with people responding and complaining together, I would like to facilitate even more than that and expand those conversations. I notice that every time someone stays after class to let me know about things going on in their life, if they have any injuries, moves that they really enjoyed, questions that they have, it just fills me with so much joy, and it also makes me a better fitness instructor. So I want to expand my ability to do that this year. I am lucky to live with a community builder. I am part of Scott's adult art club here in France, and he also has one that's still going in Philadelphia. So if you're in Philadelphia and you want to go to art club, that's still available. I get to show up to art club events. I get to yap and facilitate and help people and do everything except do art because I feel really insecure about my inability to do art. I don't know if you know this, but to get better at something, you actually have to do it. But I think that I'm going to get better at art strictly through osmosis and being at art club. Wearing a KN95 mask or higher is another way that I participate in my community and help with public health. It is not always convenient. It is not always comfortable, but it is something that feels second nature to me at this point, and it feels like an easy way for me to contribute to everyone's health. It helps mitigate my risk and the risk of those around me, which again is helping my community because not spreading sickness, not getting other people sick, and you never know who is more vulnerable than you. There are some people who cannot afford to get sick, both physically, financially, whatever. So wearing a mask is one way that I show up for my community. Cooking and language exchanges with my neighbors have been so fulfilling to me lately, not just because I'm eating a lot of good food. I recently moved to France, and I think that it's really important here as part of their culture to sit down and share meals and conversation. Something that a lot of us in the United States are missing out on because we are so pressed for time all the time. I think even if the French are pressed for time, this is not where they're cutting it from. They're just going to be like, oh, well, we're closing the office early. No shade at all. I actually really love that lifestyle. One of my neighbors is a cook. He's a chef. So when he gets home from work, he has no interest in engaging with food. Luckily, I like to cook, and sometimes we cook together. Sometimes he brings part of the food and I supply the other part of the food or the space where we eat. And it's just been really nice getting to know people, getting to know where they're from. We have some neighbors who are French, born and raised. We have some neighbors who are also immigrants like us, learning a language through them, asking them how they learned the language. It has been really good for our integration process, and I want to continue that and expand that in this year and beyond. One thing that I really have as a goal is attending more in-person events or creating more in-person events. I would love to teach more classes in person. There are so many great parks to pop up in and teach a fitness class, a movement class, some kind of community-oriented wellness event. And I would also like to go to events that other people are facilitating, which takes a lot of planning, a lot of brain power, and me actually showing up, which is what I talked about. Reminder that community does not have to be perfect, and it probably won't. Most communities that you are involved in do not check every single box that you have, and that is okay. That just means you don't have to check every single box that they have. Showing up and getting involved online or in person is such a great way to make sure you're building strong communities, and we really, really need strong communities right now. That is today's Gentle January session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that this sparks some inspiration or thoughts around how you want to show up in community in this year and beyond. Okay, love you so much. Talk to you later. Bye.